Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Punctuation is very important when it comes to writing. Whenever we are writing, we need to focus on punctuation because punctuation can change the meaning of a sentence and it can bring a big difference what you are saying and what you are trying to convey in the real sense and the meaning. If you put any of the uh, items of punctuation wrongly, so it can convey with the different meaning or and give the different concept. So how does punctuation look like? Okay, where we should put it or where we should not. So let's start from question. Let's have a simple question here. Sample question. As we got out of the car, we could smell the delicious chicken and rice that grandma was cooking for dinner. So where we need to put comma? We should put comma here. We need to change this one. We need to change A, B, C, where it is correct, where we need to put comma, what's the right thing. As we get out of the car, now this is the right way. Here we can use the comma. If we are using comma here, like after chicken here, or we are putting comma here, then that would be the wrong thing. So to make our message clear, we need to put the punctuation at the right place. So let's start with the lecture. And first we need to discuss the end marks, which are usually used at the end of the sentence. The first one is period, or this is also called full stop. Usually it is called in a very simple way a full stop. So basically it is a period, but it is also called full stop. So it is used at the end of the sentence. All of you know it very well, so I'm not going in more detail here. You can look at this sentence. Nasir eats a chocolate cake. Now here we put the full stop. Then at the end of a question we put the question mark. Does Nasir eat a chocolate cake? Like this, here we use the question mark. Then there is another mark which is usually used at the end of the sentence, and sometimes this is in the beginning of the sentence after the first word. That is exclamation mark, which is usually used at the end of the interjection. Yeah, like hurrah, loss in the beginning of the sentence, and sometime it is used at the end of the sentence. Oh no, Nasir eats a chocolate, but we we should know we need not to overuse it. We should use it um, in a very limited way, so that everything that does not look like an exclamation or a flow of a sudden feeling. So we need to avoid overuse of marks of exclamation. These three are basically the end marks: full stop or period, question mark, and sign of exclamation. Then a very important one we are going to discuss now, that is comma. Comma is usually used to connect the different phrases, clauses, and then uh, very importantly, I'd like to tell you, I mean, whenever we are speaking, we take different pauses when we are speaking. So when this spoken genre is in a written form, then we use comma for sure those pauses. Except these commas are used to connect the introductory phrases, interrupting, and concluding. Uh, let's try to explain these three things. Interrupting material will include a comma before and after it, whatever is interrupting. I mean, without a doubt, Nasser will pass the exam. Now, this is introductory, so comma is just used here. Here, Nasir will, without a doubt, pass the comma test. Now, Nasir will pass the comma test. This is the real thing. Now, without a doubt, we can put it right here, uh, right here, everywhere. But when it will be interrupting the whole sentence like this, then comma will be used before this and comma will be used after this. That's what we were talking about it here. Then at the end, so before this we are using comma. So when we are using this phrase as introductory, we are using after this comma. When we are using it as interrupting, we are using before and after the comma, and when we are using it at the end, then we are using a comma before it. So let's explain it a bit more. Like introductory, we can see few examples here. Indeed, Allah is all knowing. Now, as I was telling you, that for the pauses when we are speaking, we can also use the comma. Indeed, now we have taken the pause, and this is introductory as well. Allah is all knowing, so we can use comma here. Then, for introduction, firstly, that introduction of comma is important. So now we have used comma here as well. Now, uh, here for appositive phrases or interrupting, I have used appositives are uh, like both the things are referring towards one thing. Like here we can see Ali, father of Hussein. Now father of Hussein and Ali is the same person, so both are referring towards same person, so that's why this is called appositive here. Left, a very good example. So here we can see this is interrupting as well. To avoid such a confusion in the meaning, we can use here Ali left, very good example. Or in the second example, we can look here father of Hussein. Now here Ali, here it is a positive. Ali left, very good example. So in both of these cases, here this word is referring towards one person, same person, and this is also like interrupting, mean he while leaving the country told me, mean he told me, that was the same main thing. But this interrupting phrase while leaving the country, so before this and after this I have used comma. Then uh, commas are also used while we are using coordinating conjunctions sometime. So before them, it is a grammatical rule, but usually nowadays we don't use the comma. Here Nasir will pass the comma test and Majid will not. When we are going to conjoin it with but, Nasir will pass the comma test. Here we will use the comma, but Majid will not. So this is another use of comma. Then we are connecting the words with and, so when we are combining two things with the and, when use and alone to connect two items, then we need not to use comma, but use comma and an and to connect three or more items. When we are talking about three or more items or five or six items, then at the end we use comma before it. Jasmine will buy a bag of potato chips, sorry, potato chips, a hot dog, and a soda. Now, a hot dog, uh, a pizza, whatsoever, if you are adding on, then at the end you will use before and you will use comma here, like this. So, in this kind of listing, when we are listing something, mean we can say here, like, let me put another thing for you. Mm, we can say, so it's not aligned to write, let me write here. uh, he is intelligent, hardworking, and punctual. So now here we are listing his qualities, these all are adjectives, so you need to use comma here to list all these things. So sometime when we are listing the things, then we use comma as well. So this is all about comma. Now let's discuss about the semicolon. Semicolon, basically, if you look at this sign, this is the combination of full stop and comma. Sometime when there are coordinating conjunctions, you know the coordinating conjunctions, fan, voice, uh, it replaces them. So as we were using here, there was a sentence like this one. So if we take this sentence here, we don't use but here, so we can use here a semicolon replacing this one. So semicolon basically gives the clue to the reader. It gives the reader the open choice whether he want to read this sentence as the part of this main clause like this one or separately. So it's up to the reader whether he consider these both as one sentence or these both as separate. If they want to consider it one um, separate, then they will consider this semicolon as full stop, and they may take it as this one sentence. When we are using here the colon, it means it is one sentence, so it doesn't matter. Sometimes it is the choice of the writer, so accordingly he used these things. So semicolon is like this. Then we need to discuss about the colon, which is very important. This one mean two dots uh, up and down. So when we are listing something to tell about that list, or when we are giving the bullet points, we use colon. Like Nasir prefer classes that requires him to write intro to humanities, abnormal psychology, and US government. Mean these maybe three points, like 3 points we are here adding them. If even bullet points, even then we can use here these colon. So for listing, when we are listing something, we use colon. Then there is another use of the colon, uh, like we when we are uh, for quotations, mean like we can say Shakespeare says. Now if his wording is a bit longer, or we want to put them in inverted commas, then we would like to write like this. uh, all the world is a stage. Now this here we use this colon as well. So colon is used for telling the quotations, for introducing the items, bullet points, numbers, for all these things. Then hyphen. Usually we say this dash, but this is not dash, this is hyphen. This is used in between the compound words like this seafood. So combine different words, we can use this kind of hyphen, which is usually misconceived, and usually it is called a dash, but this is hyphen. So dash is actually this one, a bit longer, like underscore. It's like underscore that we use usually in our email addresses. So Mr. Nasir, now this is about the explanation of anything. When we are putting something, writing something within a sentence, and we are giving its explanation, so then we use dash before it and after it. Mr. Nasir like to take coffee, black brown chocolate grains at night. Now this is the sentence, Mr. Nasir like to take coffee, but this black brown chocolate grains is referring back to this word coffee. So this is the explanation of this word coffee. So for this purpose we have used here dash. So this is the dash, and then to connect different things, to connect these things and compound words, we use this hyphen. Then let's talk about the apostrophe that we have just left at the end. So to make the singular nouns possessive, we use apostrophe plus s like this. Then we make the possessives. Jasmine's pen, the cat's eyes, the professor's frown. Now there are two things about this apostrophe s. Because we are concerned about speaking, sometimes there are the words which end in with the sound s or or z. uh, z. So like we can say uh, Keats poetry. Here it means Keats is a singular person, but Keats poetry, when we are saying it's Keats' poetry, it would not be suitable. So to avoid this kind of confusion and this kind of problem in speaking, we use Keats poetry. Overall, we use this apostrophe at the end when we are talking about the possession of Plural sounds mean, like if we are saying boys hostel, it means these boys are plural. उर्दू में अगर कहूँ तो लड़कों का हॉस्टल. बट व्हेन वी आर सेइंग boys hostel, this mean plural, and this mean this one singular, mean one boys hostel, ladke ka hostel. So in this way uh, we can find out that there are slight variations in the use of this apostrophe s, and sometimes even there is a singular noun, but to avoid that fizzy kind of sound, that double sound of zzz, and we can't speak it, so we use this kind of words. Mean Keats poetry, boys hostel and boys hostel, when we were pronouncing that is same, but when we are writing there is a difference. So you should know about this difference. Okay, so let me remove all this for you. Okay, then for the contractions, here you can see there are the contractions here in this sentence. We can't cheat, so cannot is equal to can't, we are using here apostrophe s. Yes means here for the possession, and here also she is, so this she is, to reduce she is we use she's. So for talking about the possessions and for the contraction for both of these things, let me write on another slide so that you may feel quite easy. uh, it's quite blur here. So for contractions we can say we also use apostrophe, but that is not apostrophe s. For possession we are using apostrophe s, but uh, for this only contraction we are using semicolon, like here. So here we can see the words can't is actually the shorter version of cannot. So she's is actually she is. Then to contract, and then in the dates, and like we says in 70s, 1970s, in this way we also use semicolons, sorry, apostrophe. So apostrophe s and apostrophe s is used for the possession and apostrophe for the contractions most of the time. So today we have studied about the ending signs. These are the periods, full stops, periods are full stops, sign of interrogation and sign of exclamation. Then we talk about colon and semicolon, then about the hyphen and dash, and about the apostrophe and apostrophe s. So I'm winding up the lecture here. If you have any queries, any questions, you can ask me later on. Thank you.